So yesterday, let me just share my screen. Yeah. So yesterday we were discussing about like how do we open our application in different browsers, and I was talking about like enums, right? So how do we exactly use the enums? So enum is like kind of a class that we have a kind of a container. Okay, instead of class that we use a enum, and we specify the constants here. Okay, so I'll just give the example of something like if you want to pull out some days or anything. So let me just take it in some of these classes. Just let me create, otherwise enum. Okay, for example, if you want to go with the days, okay. So days is kind of like enum that we specify here. So within that we are going to give Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and so on. Okay. So just we save it. And if you want to call those enums, how do we call is like we have to create a class. So here I'm going to create a enum class. Okay. So just a sample class I'm creating here. Taking a main method. And after that, so here I'll take some switch. Okay. Switch. Ring day. So here I'm going to pass it like I'll take the day. Day's day. Is dot get values. Okay. So here we are going to get all the values inside this. So let us say it's like, okay, we have days. Day dot equals. So here we can directly give days or zero. Okay. So something if it is matching. So it's kind of like a return type that we are going to get. Okay. So let me just take font. So we cannot directly give this font here. So let me just give here, for example, if you want to see what is the days and all, how do you fetch the days and all? So directly we can use it. Okay? Instead of like switch, you can also use the switch. So you can pass one day at a time, and then you can check like if the day is matching or not. Okay. So once it matches, then we can come out of that. It's a simple example I'm just giving it. Okay. So here I'm trying to see that whether that day is available or not. Okay. So if I'm taking Monday, if that Monday is available or not, that I'm just checking. So that's the thing. But so if you can't give something which is not there in the enum, okay. So that is the reason we are taking all the values from the enums and trying to find whether Monday is available or not. It will return you true if it is found. But it says please let me just take Monday. We have this Monday and we have this days available. So I'm taking one day at a time and just I'm taking zero. So let me take if we can use some further for this. I is equal to 0, I is less than days dot length plus plus. Font. The font, what I'm going to do is like, I'll just print it and I'm going to break this. days of file. Okay, we have Monday and we have defined values. We got all the values here. Okay, so if you want to print the values, then you can print it. So just I'm checking little additional thing. Otherwise, we can directly print the values. So it says like it's not found. Let me just print the values at least, like what are the values that we are getting as part of it. Days of file. Okay, we have these values. Okay, so what I'm trying to do is like, see, I'm just defining some kind of like a enum here. So I just want to have this constants loaded. Okay, so for this, what I'm going to do is like I've taken an example so that only if this enum, whatever value that we have a constant defined in the enum, so that value I want to get it and I want to compare this value with the value that I'm passing as a parameter. So that what happens is like we cannot pass something which is not available as part of enum. Okay, so let us take, we are going to have some browsers which will be like down there, and we are going to get only we can change it in enum so that it will be like kind of a constant for us. Okay, here you can see the browser type. I've defined this one, so Chrome browser. So how do we use it is like, yeah, different browsers. In this different browsers, what you need to do is like open browser. I have just created a method here. So browser type dot values of this particular. So I'm just trying to get the value of this. Okay, so Chrome value. What is the Chrome value here? If we are different, so Chrome is the actual value. Okay, so I'm taking that. I'm just passing this and I'm comparing here. Okay, so whatever browser type I'm getting, if it is equals to the browser type dot Chrome, then only the value what I'm getting. Okay, value what I'm getting from the enum and the value that I have in the enum. Okay, so if both of them are equal, then we can go with this particular condition. For example, so now it is like a Chrome, it will execute in Chrome. Okay, so likewise, if you want to execute, see here I'm supplying Chrome, so it will take the Chrome. If I use the Firefox, then it will open in Firefox. Okay, just to ensure that only these browsers get loaded. Okay, so only this browser gets loaded. And we have question like what happens if we give any other browsers? Legal argument. Okay, what is that? Fox. So now it is loading Gecko driver. Okay, you can see. The use of enum is like to maintain the constants. Okay, so only define constants. So it will not change. It will not change its value. So now, for example, if I'm trying to give Safari Firefox 1 to 3. So it doesn't match with any of these things. Okay, it will throw the error. So it will say that browser not found. Okay. See, no enum constants available. Okay, Selenium, so it is not available. So Chrome 1 to 3 is not available. So here itself it is throwing the exception. Okay, so if you give this one, Firefox 1 to 3, and see now it's like you can't change anything apart from this. Okay, so browser dot Chrome. So if you want to say what is the parameter that we are supplying here is like enum, and we need to get those enums. Now I'm passing it as like a Firefox. If it is not matching this one, it will go and check for this one. If it is not matching this one, it will go and check that. Likewise, it will keep on continue to check for the browsers. If, for example, if you have some browsers and it is not available, then what it does is like it's going to throw the exception. Okay, so let me just put, see, if I put something here, it will throw the error. So this is not available. This constant is not available. Okay, it will ask you to create this or else remove this constant, only pass the parameters here. Here, if you are trying to get the value of this Firefox, it will get it. Okay, what is the value of Firefox? This is a Firefox value. Okay, so we looked into this one, right? So we want to get the values. How do we are getting the values? Days dot values. So it will render the values in the form of arrays. Okay, so this will help you to maintain only constants. Okay, apart from that, you cannot give anything. So it will make our code easy now. So here we cannot give any other browser names or any other things, okay, apart from this Chrome, Firefox, or Edge. So that is the reason when now you are trying to give something, if you add something here and you can give Sorry guys. You can give this one, but we don't have browser which is available. So what it does is like it will throw the exceptions. So Firefox is Safari is there in the enum, but the required driver is not available. So it is throwing like user defined value. Okay, user defined exception. That's nothing but custom exception. Okay, so it will help you to maintain the code. This is like kind of like optimization. So it's very easy to maintain the code because now we don't need to, we don't have any other options other than giving the exact values of the enum. So that's nothing but we are maintaining all the constants here. Okay, so this is the reason why we go and use the enums. Okay, so it is not only for particular browsers, you can use for anything. Okay, so if you want to load only kind of like days, weeks, months, or whatever you want to maintain as like a constant. Okay, if you want to put some value and you want to have that value constant and need not to change that value, so in that case we can go and use the enums. Okay, so this was the thing actually yesterday we wanted to discuss, but there was one miss actually. So I did not use this function. So here I was using some other thing, right? So I was using probe. So what it does is like enum does not go and check for the value which is given as part of like a string. So it will take the values from the enum itself. So that is the reason why we have to give browser dot chrome. Sorry, we have used the key, right? So we have to use the browser type dot chrome. So browser type is the enum dot chrome. So the value whatever we are taking for this particular parameter and the value that we are checking in the condition should be equal. If it is not equal, then it's going to throw this exception. Okay, which says that browser not found. Okay, so this is about the enum. And we'll discuss today, we'll be discussing about the new topics. How do we handle different elements on the web page? Okay, so I'll create a package called Selenium. Web. Handling web elements. So let's go and try to open browser. And let's see that what we have inside this particular so here this guy has clearly defined all the elements. Okay, so you can see sorry guys. So we have radio buttons, checkboxes, switch windows, switch tabs, select classes, multiple select classes, auto suggestions. Okay, so then enable, disable, switch to alerts, mouse over, everything is defined here. Okay, iframes. So these are the elements that we have as part of our web pages. Okay, so apart from this, we can have drag, drop, upload. So those things we'll be discussing in detail. Okay. First, we'll try to enter something here. Okay, to try to enter something. Okay, enter your name. Here it is like it is showing something. Or else here also we have a text box. Okay, so here also we have some text box. So if you want to identify this particular element, how do we identify? We identify using ID, name, class, XPath, CSS selector, partial text, partial link text, partial link text. Okay. So now we want to enter something into this. So how do we identify? We go and inspect this element and we have something here, text. Okay. So text, and we have this properties of that particular element. So I want to enter text into it. So how do I identify the element now? So I'm taking XPath, input type, type is equals to text. Okay. I identified this. I'm copying this. So but first let me just copy this and create a simple program for this. Okay. What is web element? Web element is interface. Okay. So elements are like web elements are the part of the page. Okay. Whatever we see, all of them are like web elements. Web element class 1. See main method. In this main method, I'm going to write the code now. So what is that code? So instead of every time loading some browser and also what can we do is that we can just take this particular method, open browser. Okay. So how do we call this now? How do you call this? Just copy this. So doing all this driver manager and Chrome, setting up this page load, everything, this is not required. Okay. So what can we do is like directly we can go and call it here. But what do we need to make? So this we have to make it as like a static. So still it is static. Do we have anything private? Not defined private. So rename. Browser type also we managed to have this one. Create constant. We need not to create constant for this. Directly we can take it. Okay, let me do one thing. I'll just write. So this is like polymorphism, guys. Now you see what I'm going to do is like I'll just change the code here. Okay. See. Same thing, but here what I'm taking is like I'm taking the string browser. So this is nothing but polymorphism, right? Method over loading. Within the same class, we have two methods with different set of parameters. So here I'm going to put okay. Now you see we have two methods with different parameters. Okay. So here I can remove this and I can pass the Chrome browser. Okay. Why is it saying create a new method? We'll import the package. So how do we import the package? We'll just go and edit. Dot package.awt. So this is a class that we are trying to put. Okay. Browser, we got the class and we have to use class name dot open browser. Okay. So here it's going to throw the exception. Okay. Simply what I did is like this is the static method, right? I'm using the class name and you can import this. I think you need not to have this import file. Okay. So it is because we are in different package, right? We have to import it. Okay. So now we are importing this package. Okay. So importing this package and from that package, I'm calling this open browser. So it will open the Chrome browser. When now you can supply the browser types also, browser type dot. You can say Chrome. We'll go and call this method. So which method? This method, browser type method. If I give the parameter as like string, then it will call the next method. Okay. So we can make it as like whatever way that we want to use it. So now it's like it's my job to have this get method and I want to just do some actions, right? I'll just if you want to have this open browser and do some actions on it, manage it. See, you can put it here also. Okay. For example, if you want to have this browser loaded here, and you can use a string URL. So it will accept the string URL. So whatever URL that you want to pass, you can pass it. Okay. So just say that. You can take it from outside. We'll do it little later. Okay. So now we can't waste our time here. I'll show you how do we do it. Okay. So Bellman class. Now it's like I'm going to get the driver. So I want to get the driver here. So what is the return type of opening browser is fine. and we have to get that browser here. So how do we get the browser now? It will open the browser. But what is that we are getting here? If I say we did not extend any properties. Okay. So otherwise what we have to do is like we can just take the browser here and this browser should be returning some value. Okay. So here what I'm going to do is like instead of this, I'm going to use a web element, web driver. So this web driver will be returning you the browser. So load it here, return the. Okay, so if nothing is found, then finally what it is written, like it's written, it's going to return the null value. So instead of creating object for that, I'm just using this as like a method wherein I'm going to return the web driver. So this web driver will be returned. Okay. So whatever driver that we have this driver will be written. Okay. So I'm going to create a driver object here, driver reference object. So here I'm going to get it. So this will get the driver. Okay. So get driver. So what is that code that we want to, what is the URL that we want to use? Like this is the URL. Okay. And we write the code. So let's see if we are getting the driver and is it closing or not. Otherwise, we'll get some null pointer exception. Okay. So now what it is doing now? So from other class, we are getting the driver and we are loading this page. Okay. So simply it is going and calling this method from the class and it is just giving us the driver. If you don't want to have this driver as like, I don't want to create anything driver like this. And if you want to get the driver, then you have to use the extents. That is nothing but inheritance. Okay. So polymorphism is like one thing here. You see that we have a different parameters for same methods. Okay. So this is method over loading. So here, if I want to use it like directly, you can give extents. See, I'm not going to. See, what is it doing now? See, we don't need to just give this. Okay. So here we have importing. Sorry for this. Yeah. So we have different packages, right? We have to do this. Now you see. So we are getting this driver. If I remove this, okay, let me go ahead and see. Now it is returning the driver, right? Better we can catch it. Okay. So otherwise we can just define this. There also we can get the driver. Okay. So let me just remove this. Yeah, we can now see. We are just taking this driver and this driver will load the driver, whatever we are getting as part of this open person. Okay. So there are a lot of ways, guys. We can use extents or we can remove this and we can use like you see. Now it's kind of like it's a static method. Okay. Static method. If you are not extending anything, then it will not allow you to access without class. So we have to use the class. Okay. So if you are extending that, then what happens is like it will directly take this from this particular class itself. Okay. So now you see, if you don't have this extends, then you have to specify that. So if you extend this, then it will think about like, this is a parent class and this is a child class and this is the parent class. Okay. From there, we are acquiring the properties. So directly we can use this open browser. So whatever main we have, like whatever things that we are, that we have as part of like parent class, that will be available here. Okay. So it's working fine. Now what can we do is like, we'll try to identify the element. Okay. How do we identify the element? We are going to define the web element. Element is equals to this value. Okay. So now I want to return the value. Okay. So return the value in the sense I want to use XPath and it will return the web element. Okay. So value this is web element. I'm talking about like web element. Now you see. So it will return the web element. Now what is the action that we want to perform? We want to enter the data. Okay. So element dot send keys. This is test data. Okay, what is the action that we can perform in text box. We want to enter the data. So how do we capture this? So text entered. So we will be using method called d dot. Sorry, we have element dot get attribute. So attribute, within that attribute, what is that we want to get? We want to get the value. Okay, so I'll print this. Whatever text that I have entered, I want to just verify. Okay, now you go and execute this. So it will be faster, guys. After loading, it will enter the data and it will close it. Capture it and close it. So this is test data that what we have entered. Okay, so let me just comment this line. And again, I'm going to run it. Now you see. So what is the text that it's going to enter? So this is test data. Okay, so here we are getting them. So test operation like text. If we are trying to perform some actions or operations on this text boxes, we can use send text. Okay, send text will enter the value. Okay, enter the value. So this is for the send text. Okay, let's go and try to perform some operations on like clicking on this particular element. Okay, radio buttons. I want to identify this Honda and I want to click on it. So how do I identify this radio button? Just go and mouse over on it. So you can see this is available under this label. Okay, and you have the ID. Input ID is like ID is like Honda radio, and we have like value, and it comes under the cars, and type is like radio. Okay, so now I want to identify this one. Okay, I want to click on this Honda. So let me just click on this. So it's not working. So where do I need to identify? This is the element wherein I need to click in. Okay, so it should highlight this one. So this is the element that we have. Okay, Control C, Control F. Now identify it. We have input ID is equals to. We got this. Okay, so copy this. And what action I can perform? Click action. I cannot enter text, right? So if I try to enter the text, what happens? We'll see that one also. Okay, so d dot. If you have this element and if you want to override the value of this element, then you can use the same thing. Okay, so instead of overriding this, or if you want to have this element written, you want to have some element to be written. So in that case, we can use one other method. So I'll write a simple method here. Okay, public static return me a web element. Okay, so return me a web element. I'll say get element, and here I'm going to use it. Okay, so here I'll use by. Okay, so because as we discussed yesterday, so if you want to identify an element with different locators, it can be ID, it can be XPath. Okay, so let me take like what is that we have is like ID. So we don't have anything here. You see this? So it's available with the ID. Okay, so let me just try to identify with CSS selector. See, now we are able to identify this element with CSS selector. Okay, so now first one I identified with XPath. Now I want to identify with CSS selector. Okay, so here I'm going to use d dot find elements by dot. So whatever it is like, if you want to pass this XPath, you can pass this XPath. Otherwise, you can just use by. Add return, it will return you this element. Okay, so let me capture this now. See, what I'm going to do is like, I'll be using get element by dot CSS selector. So just give this ID. Now I got this element dot. So I want to click on it, right? So you can click it. So here also we can do the same thing here. So instead of using this d dot element, then I'm going to use, here I'm going to use now what it will do is like it will return you the element. Okay, so sometimes what happens is like if we want to apply the weight, okay, sometimes it may take some time to load the page. In that case, what we load that particular element. In that case, what we can do is like we can use WebDriver weight is equals to new WebDriver weight, and you can give the element here and the duration dot of seconds. You can wait for that particular element to get loaded. Okay. See now, WebDriver weight. Here, how do we return now? Wait dot until expected dot visibility of element located by so what we are trying to do is like we are casting it to a web elements. Okay, we'll get that web element and we are casting it to a web element. Now we see. So this will be applied for all the elements. Okay, now you see this will be applying. I'm applying this for get elements. So get wherever I call the get element, that particular synchronizations will be applied. That's nothing but WebDriver weight will be applied. Now you see. So simply we are trying to design the application like the framework. Okay, so something is it's not casting itself. That's the reason why it is throwing the error. So let's cast web element. Okay, let me do one thing. I'll not return this one. I'll capture it as like a web element. After that, I'll take it to the wait until the visibility of the element. So web element. So as we discussed, like what is the okay visibility? Sorry, I'm sorry for this. So it's like it's asking for the simple error also. I just skipped it. You can see this. So what it is saying, like we are using visibility of all elements. Okay, so it simply throws the error here. So what is the error? You are trying to here it returns the list of web element, but you are trying to capture it in web element. Okay, that is the error it is showing. See. Okay, so is a unnamed and it will not return this. Okay, so it says like class util.array list cannot be cast to the class org.web element. Okay, so that is the reason why it is not able to return that in a web element. Okay, let's go and try to return it as a web element, but here we have to change it. What is that? Only visibility of element located by that we use. Now it will return in the web element. Okay, so now it is not throwing any error. So earlier it was throwing the error. Okay, so let's go and try to execute the program. Now it should work as expected. So this is checkbox. I'm trying to click on that checkbox. Okay, first is like it will enter some data in text box. Okay, so after that it will click on that Honda. Okay, now you see this. This is a text box. This is a text data it is entering in the text box, and this is like Honda, it is clicking on it. Okay. Now I want to click on this checkboxes. Okay. So Benz is the checkbox that I want to click on it. So how do I click on it now? First I need to identify the element. This time we'll identify the element in a different way. Okay. So we have I want to write some XPath in a different way. Okay. So now you see, first I want to identify this particular. Okay, so where is that particular where is that checkbox? This is the checkbox and this is the parent. Okay, and this we have a text. Okay, so I want to identify this particular element. So here we have label, and inside that label we have a input. Okay, so I'll identify in a different way. Now you see, what I'm going to identify is like, first I'll take the label as like reference, and I'll try to enter the text is equals to Benz. What is that? Text is a method. Okay. So now we got it. Okay. So instead of this, what I am going to do is like, I want to remove the spaces. So normalize space. So normalize space is like, I got it. So instead of this, so if you are putting a whole, it will identify everything. But in case if you want to identify only one element at a time, then we can put this normalized space as like text into it. So here also it is causing some trouble. Normalize space and enter this. Let's use contents. After that, we can see we have this normalized space. So contents is like, we have to close this element here. Contents text. Text, comma. Let me re-identify it again. So I want to click on this Benz, right? So I'll take this one. So we have text here. So label. Label contains text. You want to use this. So text, yeah. Okay, let me try with this one. So we have this for at the rate for, we can use. It is identifying with that. But where do I want to click on it? So it is, I want to click on this particular element. Okay. So I'll try to identify it again. So it should get identified. Yep. Typing Benz. Benz is the text that we have. Okay. So maybe it's not identifying this one. So it should identify because we are using tag name, contents, and text, and we are trying to identify this particular element with the value. Okay. Okay. Let's not waste our time. So I want to just show you like how do we exactly use the different ways, like, identify the element. After that, with the help of like accesses, I want to identify. Okay. So for I'll use, okay. So let me take Benz. So it is identifying, right? After that, what I want to do is like, I want to click on this particular child. So what is that child? So this is the input. Okay. So I want to click on this. I'm just taking this X path and I'm going to write it here. Okay. So now it is like element is equals to get element y dot x path, y dot x path. I'm going to give the x path here. I'll get that element. After that, I want to click on it. Okay. So now it should click on the Benz. So what is that Benz? Benz is a it's a checkbox. Okay. So when you save, see now where it is highlighting. So it is highlighting two elements here, Benz and Benz. Okay. But I want to click on the second one. So what I can do, I can give the index. Now you see, it's selecting the second one. Okay. I'll take the same thing and I'm going to copy and paste it here. Remove this. We are using child. Okay. So directly we can use, but I'm trying, just want to use the accesses. Okay. So other way is like, I want to take this as like, parent as like reference. Okay. So parent as like reference. just what I was saying is like I'll take this one, then I'll identify this particular element, then I'll go to the down. So that's nothing but I just want to write like this. Okay, label. Anyways, we have a text available here, right? Text is equals to, what is that? We have a Benz space. Okay, we are able to identify. So, sorry guys, bad road. So here you can say label text is equals to Benz. Okay, so after that, if you say input, directly you'll get into this input. But in case like if you want to click on this, for example, if you want to identify who is the parent of this element, okay, what is the text and all. So how do we identify and how do we get the element is like on which element you clicked on this checkbox is like you can just go and try to identify that element in this way. Okay, so input, we want to have the parent, right? So parent, for that we have the objects. Now you see, I want to identify what is the parent of. Parent is label. Okay, so from here I want to get the text of what text is that I'm clicking. Okay, so I'll just try to element is equals to y dot text path and then write the. So for highlight also we have one method that we can write here is like public static void highlight element. For this, what we have to is like JavaScript executor. Yes is equals to JavaScript executor of. So we are just trying to typecast into the driver. Okay, we'll discuss about what is JavaScript executor, take screenshot, and what is like another one we have a like interfaces. We'll talk about them. Okay, WebDriver is also kind of, we have interface for that, right? So which will have the implementation class of remote WebDriver. So JS dot execute script. So inside script I'm going to write arguments of 0. So this is nothing but a piece of JavaScript. Okay, argument of 0, set attribute. Set attributes of style. So what style that I want to use. Okay, so for that we have a background. Background defining it as like yellow. And then we have border 2 pixel solid red. Okay, generally we use this one. So solid red. Here we'll terminate. After that, we're going to get the element. So here pass a web element. Okay, argument dot set attribute style, and the border is the background is like yellow and border is like 2 pixel. Let me just put this one in this way. Border. We are terminating it here. And finally, we're closing the bracket. So all comes into this one and the element. We are just closing the bracket. So here you are clicking on this, right? So let me just mouse highlight on this. Before this, I want to highlight the element. Okay, so element. where you're clicking after this. It's like you're clicking the radio button. And after that, you want to hit the. So it's saying a missing parameter. Okay, so here, using it. There's that we are missing style we have given, border we have given. Okay, so I need to remove these things. Seems like it is missing one of this parameter. So I'll close it again. I'm going to rerun. Oh, sorry. See, it has, okay, it did not highlight, but we'll check that one. Okay. So this is text box, this is Honda, and this is Benz. It is showing up. Okay. So now you see it has clicked this operation. So click operations are done. Here first it has entered and it clicked Honda. After that, it clicked on the Benz. So here is what the text that we are getting, but we did not get. Okay. So here what I have to do is like I want to print the text of it, right? So element dot get text. What is the text of that particular label that I'll be getting it? So before that, we can just, okay, let me highlight, let me just execute this code and see. See, now we got this Benz, this is test data. Okay, now you can see it is just clicking on this. Okay, so let's go ahead and I'll just open the, sorry for this. So just the browser has, as it has gone behind this Eclipse. Now you can see the clear execution. See, this is text and it's very fast, I guess. Okay, this is text and you can see it clicked on this and it clicked on this Benz also. So accessors, with the help of accessors, we could able to find out what is the actual text of it. Okay, so here we are easy. Now this is radio button and its parent is label. Under that parent we have a Benz. Okay, so that is what we are getting the text here. Okay, so highlight, just I want to check on this highlight why it is not highlighting the element. You can simply write text also. So just set attribute and setting this attribute and okay, let's see, we have already written this, right? So we want to just object identification. There should be a simple mistake that I've done. What is that background that we have defined? Yellow. Okay, so this is what we are missing there. Okay, and this is what, yes, we did not give it. Let me just write it again. Element class, and here instead of this one, I should have terminated with this. So background also, it's a similar thing. So background we have again like set style background yellow and border is like 2 pixel. Okay, here also we need not to give this. So it is considering this simple. Okay, this is a simple mistake. So just remove this. Yeah. Now it should highlight the elements. Border 2 pixel to px solid, right? And okay, so now you see it is highlighting, but for some reasons it is highlighting some other things. Okay, so let's see that one. Okay, now you see it's like again it's working, but it is highlighting something. We'll check that one also. So whether the element is properly highlighted or not. Okay, this is what the element it is highlighting, but it should not be the element which it should be highlighted. Okay, so now you see this, we have identified the element as like text, and we are sending the text, and we are trying to identify the element, and we use that click option, click operations, and identifying the element and clicking on it, and checkboxes also that we worked on. Okay, so let's see the other things. What we have is like we have worked on checkbox, we have worked on this particular radio button, checkbox, and text box. Okay, now we want to click on this something like which is a button. Okay, I want to click on this open tab. Okay, so open tab is like again we have to inspect and click on that. Okay, so here you have say anchor tag. Okay, so anchor tag means we have to perform the click operations. Like we just go mouse over on it and we can click on it. Okay, so directly we can take ID. So ID open tab. So here I'll go and try to identify element is equals to get element by dot ID. Okay, element dot click on it. So it will click on the hyperlink. See, it clicked on the hyperlink and you can see it is opening the all course. Okay, I want to get the text of it. Okay, so if you want to get the text of all courses, we have another way like Windows handle that we have to use a Windows handle, then we can get the. Okay, so now you see it has entered and it clicked on this. Okay, if you want to see it again, I can show you. It is very faster, guys. So we can just, I'll slow down with putting some weights also so that it can be helpful for you to understand. So it clicked on all courses. Now you see open tab is highlighted. Okay, highlight is working fine, but object identification that we did is like little mistake here. So it should identify the pens here. Okay, so we'll see that one. Now you see open tab, it highlighted this one. Okay, so now you see the all courses are open. So I'll close it. Now what are the other things that we can identify here? Open tab is also kind of an element here. So just try to identify what is this is a button. Okay, this is a hyperlink. Okay, so I'll do one thing. I'll use open window as like ID, and after this I'll take the same code. I'll be working with, it's a link, right? So link text, we'll use the link text. So what is the text, whatever text we have here, that will take it as the link text. So images, if you have some link on that image, if you have some that text on that particular hyperlink, then we can use links. Okay, so link text. Okay, so here I'm going to take open tab because that is the anchor tag. Okay, here we have to perform one operation at a time. You have to switch back to that window. We are not switching it, so it will throw that window is not available. Okay, so element, no such element exception. So you may get that exception, or it's like simply it's waiting for that element to get loaded. Okay, so that is the reason why. So you can see this is in pending. It will throw the exception. The reason is like these two options are available here: open window and open tab. But now you see what happened. It opened a window, but it should go back to this window and it has to click on this open tab. It's not working, right? So this we can handle with the help of window handles. We have to switch back to that window and click that tab. Otherwise, what happens is like it will throw the exception. expected condition failed, and it will say that, see what is happening now. It's waiting for that element to get visible, but that element is not available on that web page. So that is the reason why it is throwing the exception. Okay. So let's comment this one. So this piece of line, and then we can execute the open tab. Okay. So now you saw this, right? Window has opened now. So I clicked on this open window. I'll close it. I'll close this one and then try to open this. Now it will open the different tab. Open. So, let me rerun it again. Not clicking on this open tab. Let me identify this element again. Inspect. Go to this open tab. Why dot. I'll just wait for 2 seconds here, and after that I'll try to click on it. Okay, so it is little faster, so that is the reason why it's not able to identify the element. Get element. We'll be waiting for this element. So link test. Okay, it's not working on it. Let me just check what is the link text of it. Yeah, open tabs. We have a space in it. Okay. So this is what the text I have to give. See, I've given the ID actually. Okay. So instead of giving the ID, we have to give the text. Now it will work fine. Okay. Inner text, whatever we have, inner text is nothing but the text which is appearing on this particular link. Okay. Now you see it will open the link also. Sorry for that. I just gave that ID. So that is the reason why it was not able to identify the link. So now it will click on this open tab. So you clicked on it and you can see all codes. Okay. So open tab is like, this is the what text we have to give, the link text. Okay. So open tab has like hyperlink on it. So, and we have a text for that. So just we need to click on this, open tab. Just we are trying to identify the element, and we are giving the locator link text. Okay. In case like if you're not sure about like complete, okay, we only I know about like, that is open enter T. Okay. Remove this tab like TAB, like AB, sorry. And just remove this partial link text. Now it will work because we have a partial text here, right? So which is appearing like here I can see open space T. TB or something I don't remember. Okay, generally it's like I'm just talking about like few things which would like longer or which we may not remember. So just we may remember only these things, or we may only identify that particular element. Like we can have like lengthiest string instead of taking lengthiest string, we can take partial text of it. So it open, it clicked on open tab. Okay. So with the help of this locators, we'll be identifying the elements. Okay. Today also I showed you like how do we use the CSS selector and how do we use this, XPath accessors. And again, how do we get the value? How do we click on this radio buttons? check boxes, entering the text in the web data, entering data into the text field. Then we worked on clicking on the hyperlinks. Okay. So tomorrow we'll continue to do this, but we'll be working on different elements. Okay. Now it's like we'll be working on this select. How do we select these options from this drop down? And how do we do the multi-select? And how do we use this disabled, enabled? Why do we use this disabled, enabled? Preconditions. Okay. So checking the preconditions. And then we'll be working on alert. After that, we'll be working on some frames and we'll be working on the window switching. So we saw this, right? How do we switch this? When we click on this, so Selenium will not go and directly work on this particular page. Okay. So we have to switch to this page. Then we can do some actions like entering some data or selecting some courses and click on this and close this and come back to this. And again, do some actions on this, again, close this browser. So these actions will be looking into them tomorrow, like when we work on the window handlings. Okay. So I'll try to complete these things, like whatever actions that we are performing as part of our web pages. So within a week, like we'll be completing this frames, windows, alerts, and after that we'll be working on the actions classes. And after that we'll jump onto the test engine. That is a framework. From there we'll be designing the frameworks, and we'll see that how do we execute the test in a sequence or based on the priorities, and how do we want to have the execution model that will be defined as part of test engine. Okay. Okay, guys, thanks for your time. So please practice these things and let me know if you have any doubts.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, guys.